Hey guys, MBSC1 again, and I have a more straightforward Virizion Mewtwo list that I want to show you guys. I know I've made like one or two other videos with kind of Virizion Mewtwo deck, but those are more techy. And this list also has some text, but it's just a more straightforward, consistent version. I feel like this is the type of deck that you want to run at regionals, a more consistent version that does what you want pretty much every game. So I put this together. This is probably what I'm going to use for regionals, and I'll get straight right into the list. So, start with the Pokemon. For Virizion, this is just so you start with Virizion every time, or Mewtwo, I guess, because they're both good starters, but honestly, it's what makes the deck work. The ability is super good, attack is extremely good, the resistance is great, weakness is good. This Pokemon is just extremely strong right now, and it definitely deserves 4 copies in my opinion. You could go down to 3 if you want, but I like 4 just for that super consistency. For Mewtwo, I wouldn't knock you for running 3, but the reason I run 4 is just to make it really consistent, honestly. 3 seems like it would make sense, and like you only really need 3, but if you look at the kid that won Worlds, what's his name? Gosh, I always forget. But anyway, he ran 4 Genesect and 4 Virizion, and that made me think about how many Mewtwo and Genesect I want to run in these decks, and I think 4 is the right number, especially with Super Rod being rotated, because I can never, recycle them. So if I have 1 prized or something like that, it can be a pain if I only have 3 Mewtwo. So I figured 4 was important for that reason. Also with 4, you just never lose the Mewtwo, or you always have it when you need it, and it's just really nice to always make sure you have that. And then you also don't have to dig for a Pokemon to Emerald Slash onto when you Emerald Slash, because I did notice that I had to do that sometimes with Virizion Genesect. So yeah, Mewtwo is just an extremely good attacker in this format. Very good in combination with Virizion, because it makes it do a lot more damage just by accelerating energy to it. So Mewtwo is still one of the best EXs in the game, and it pretty much has been since it came out. One Jirachi. Oh yeah, so that's basically just the main attackers, is Virizion Mewtwo. Jirachi is just sheer for the ability, extremely good ability. Basically just get you out of supporter drains or grab the Lysander when you need it. That's basically the whole reason. I love Jirachi, I play it in pretty much every deck. Super good. One Dedenne, I just have this in here to help against Yveltal decks and Lugia decks. You muscle band this and laser this, and it does like, let's see, well, it one-shots a Lugia with 4 energy on it if you just have a muscle band, and if it has 3 energy on it, you have a muscle band and a laser, and the Verbank, you can one-shot it a Lugia as well, I believe. Wait, 3? Yes. And then same thing goes for against the Yveltal. So this thing does a lot of damage against Pokemon that are weak to electric. And then also it's just nice as a threat on the bench. It makes it so that your opponent goes, oh, okay, I can't load up a lot of energy on my Yveltal or Lugia, because then I'll just use Dedenne and knock it out. So it works as a good threat, and it works as a good attacker when you need it. It's definitely good as a 1-of. I wouldn't do more than 1. One Kecleon. I talked about this in my past videos. It's just really good for the Mewtwo War. It can basically make you win the Mewtwo War. Kecleon's amazing, actually. I'm surprised more people haven't thought about it yet, but I think it's really good, and I love it in this type of deck. Now, this could easily be any kind of tech you want. The reason I just have this Virizion is because I know at my league there's a guy that runs Suicune, and if I don't have something that knocks out Suicune, he runs 2, so I just put this in there as something to get around Suicune. But this could easily be anything you want. For regionals, this is probably going to turn into a Victini, and then I'll change my A-Spec to Victory Piece, because I've had a lot of success with running Victini and Victory Piece in these type of decks, because it just gives you that extra edge against Virizion Genesect. Virizion Genesect is probably going to be very popular, so for you guys, I would probably suggest this to be a Victini EX, but it's kind of a free tech spot, so if you feel that you want to tech for something else, you can switch out this for it. But this is just here to do damage to safeguarders, because I don't really have a super good safeguard attacker. And then one Mr. Mime is the last Pokemon. This is just to stop bench damage from Virizion, Genesect's Megalocannon and Landorus's Hammerhead attack, which are 2 huge Pokemon right now, and they're in 2 of the biggest decks in the format right now. So like, pretty much half of decks are going to be fighting decks and Virizion Genesect decks, I predict. So if this is going to help me against half my matchups, I figure it's, a good inclusion. So that's why I have the 1. The energy is very simple. It is just 4 double colorless, and then 3, 6, 10 grass. I have 8 base sets and then 2 of these. I want to get them all base set, but Yeah, this is just to make it very consistent so that you can get that turn 2 Emerald Slash every game, make it so you never miss an energy ever. You know, it's just good. That's just how many energy you run in this deck. You could do 9 and then 4. I just really am trying to make this deck as consistent as possible because consistency is the thing that wins tournaments. If you look at tournaments, the consistent decks are the ones that win. Draw support, we got 4N, best supporter in the format, debatably. You know, run 4 on pretty much every deck. It's just always powerful. For Juniper, second best or first best supporter in the format. Very good, shouldn't really need to explain it. And 2 Chorus, some people run 3. I just like 2 because, you know, sometimes you'll Chorus for low amounts if you run 3. Sometimes I run 3, but in this particular deck I think 2 is okay because I like some of the other draw supporters too, so just 2. 2 Skylet, this is just to grab whatever item you need. This is really nice if you need to Skylet for computer search so you can get that double colorless energy. That comes in handy sometimes. And you know, just grabbing whatever item you need. Skylet's great for that, you know, getting that laser or that muscle band that you need to take that knockout. You know, it's a good card, not amazing. That's why I only run 2. And then 2 Bicycle, this is just to make you draw more cards more quickly. We saw Igor Costa running 3 or 4 Bicycle. I'm not sure if it's 3 or 4 at Worlds, and he kind of showed us that Virizion Genesect is good with Bicycle, so I figured Bicycle would be good in Virizion Mewtwo as well. So that's why I include 2. I always like Bicycle too. It's just being able to draw more after playing the support is really nice. And then 3 Lysandre, whatever you want to call it. This is just great for starting Mewtwo Wars. You can Lysander up your opponent's Mewtwo, knock it out with your own, and then basically you just stay ahead in the Mewtwo War the whole time after that because you run 4 Mewtwo, 4 DC, a computer search, and high counts of damage adding items and stuff like that. So this is great for making you win the Mewtwo War, or just bring up anything with damage on it so you can finish knockouts. Lysander is just super powerful, and that's why I run 3 instead of 2 or 1. I had 4, but 4 is just too clunky. 2 Verbank. This is just to make lasers do more damage. A lot of people are going to run Verbank, so there's not really a reason to run 3. I suppose you could win the Stadium War if you run 3 and your opponent's running the Fighting Stadium, but I think 2 is satisfactory. 4 lasers, consistent, makes them do more damage. Very good. It's just super powerful. Not much I need to explain about that. 3 Muscle Band. Oh, this is also if you want to take out this for something else and you don't have another tech, you could make it a 4th Muscle Band. So if you don't know what to change this into, turn it into a 4th Muscle Band. That's my suggestion because that's what I had it as before. Yeah, 3 Muscle Band is nice. I'd like to have 4. 4 is not really needed though. It's just like the 4th one would be kind of a what do you call it? A luxury card. Like it's not something you need, but it helps just a little bit more. So 3 is enough, but 4 would be nice. 3 works for now though. You know, just does more damage. It's helpful. 3 Ultra Ball. You only need 3. I'd like to have 4, but you only need 3 because there's 4 Virizion and 4 Mewtwo, so they're both going to come up very often, and you're probably not going to need to use Ultra Balls that much. But Ultra Ball is good for thinning out your deck and grabbing the one-ofs in the deck like Jirachi, Dedenne, Mr. Mime, Kecleon, and Virizion, so having Ultra Ball is important. Yeah, it's more helpful when you have Victini in the deck. I should note that if you do have Victini in the deck, you should probably run 4 Ultra Ball. And then 2 Switch. This is just to switch into whatever you want. I'd like to have 3, just because I want to switch with Mewtwo kind of a lot. But it's not needed, so 2 is enough. You kind of just got to pick where you want consistency, you know. Do you want 10 energy, or do you want 9 energy and 3 switch? You know what I mean? Like, you kind of got to just pick where you want your consistency to be, and I find that the switch count is kind of less important, especially because Virizion only has a 1 retreat cost. And then 1 Professor's Letter. This is just so you can Skylar for Professor's Letter, guarantee yourself an attachment for this turn and the next turn. You know, also works as a pseudo 11th grass energy, so Professor's Letter is great. Love it in this deck. And then the A spec is Computer Search. This is great because you can search out DCs when you need them, or lasers or muscle bands. Basically, this thing will just help consistency, make you do more damage. Awesome A spec. I run this in pretty much every deck right now if you're not running G Booster or Victory Piece, so this is great. But if you do add Victini, obviously this is going to get changed out for Victory Piece. So that is the that is the whole list. It's pretty straightforward. There's not much to it. It doesn't take a ton of thinking. It's pretty simple. It's really consistent though, and I think it will do very well at the tournament. So it's this. I'm going to test this a lot, and then if this doesn't work out, I'm going to basically just switch the Mewtwo's out for Genesects and just make a list that's very similar to the Canadian guy that won Worlds